And we are back with another morning roast edition of the Black with No Cream podcast, where every Wednesday morning we deep dive into creative topics with the goal of giving you a daily dose of motivation and inspiration. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, aka Ben Real vs. World. This is my co-host, David Malave, and today we have a jam-packed episode. We are celebrating the milestone of our 200th episode of the Black with No Cream podcast, which is this episode that you're listening to right now. We will also be calling the top 3 finalists of the Commercial Cut Challenge to get their live reaction as we tell them what place they got. And we will be giving you what we think is the single most important tool for freelance creatives right after this intro. Welcome to the morning roast, a place where you will get the most info from a deep dive into the topics that really need life with your host, Ben and Dave, coming to you live today. Grab your cup of joe and take some fucking notes. You bitch. 200. You're not gonna go with me on this?
All right, ready?
200. Yeah. Damn, 200 episodes, man. It's actually crazy. It's really crazy when you think about it. And I love doing these like victory laps whenever we hit these milestones. I remember, I think I did a personal one when I hit 10 episodes because I thought that was a big deal. Then we hit 50. Then we hit 100. Then we hit 150. 200 episodes. It's fucking crazy. And it's cool because this podcast is so dope. We've spoken with the most talented creatives from literally all around the world, and we've hit some of the most sensitive topics for freelancers to inspire and motivate and level themselves up as our listeners. And when you think about it, because we've done the math over here at Black with No Cream, that's 218-ish hours of podcast episodes with incredible come-up stories from directors who have accumulated billions of views on their music videos, or DPs who have pushed the limits on what's possible behind the camera, or musicians who went from sleeping on the floor to charting on radio, photographers who documented the lives of the artists that we all know and love. And that shit's just insane to think about. It's also insane to pull it into days. How many days does the Black with No Cream podcast equate to, Dave? Do you know the number?
Well, it looks like it's 9 days, 2 hours, and 43 minutes exactly.
9 days? If you started episode 1 and just sat there, you would have to sit there for 9 motherfucking days straight, just listen to bangers. And that's like literally filled with discussion topics. We've talked about how to charge a client. We've talked about best practice for emailing clients, when to quit your fucking full-time job, creative depression. We talked about finding mentors, tips for touring videographers and photographers, signing contracts. Like, we've covered so many fucking topics, and we've heard from y'all, and the impact is like super cool, right?
Yeah, man. Even for me, like this, it was back in fall 2017 when you came out with the first episode with Justin O.D. show, and just like, I hopped in maybe 8, 9, 10 episodes in. We started working together, and just like even those 8 episodes, the impact they had on my life was so monumental. And like, I found it at the perfect time of my life to really kickstart deciding that I wanted to chase creative stuff. Graduating college and not knowing what to do, and finding this podcast was like a moment in my life that I always remember. And obviously, it's provided me with so much opportunity. And the coolest thing now is just us working on this day in and day out, growing this thing, really, really believing in this thing, putting our careers aside to work on this mission. And what makes it so gratifying is we have seen and heard the impact that it's had on creators all over the country, all over the world. The messages we get from people who say that, that this podcast helped them find the motivation to quit their job and finally chase what they wanted to do. It helped them get out of a rut and realize that some of the things were possible, or it helped them realize how to go about charging clients, or how to land something that they've always wanted to achieve. And I think that about our podcast is something that keeps us going every day. And I think that's what we really want to celebrate today, is the idea that, this podcast can be such a source of motivation, inspiration, and, being empowered as a creator. And if you really utilize this podcast on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis, if you tap in with us every week, I think there's some real ways that you can elevate your career just by taking away from the stories that you hear, or the morning roast that you hear, the tips, the tricks, the little mantras, the mindsets. You know what I mean? Like, even just the motivation from hearing, me or Ben or a really, established creative, like, tell you that it's possible, tell you that that, you know, the path that you're on leads somewhere if you stick with it. And all those things are so dope, man. And that's why we hop on this desk, you know, all the time to record this stuff.
Yeah, no, it's like, it's an assload of work, and it's sometimes we're always like questioning, like, what are we doing today? And then you get that one message from that one person who was impacted by even a chunk of the episode. Might not even be about the entire thing. Maybe they didn't even hear a full episode, but they're like, yo, I got 10 minutes today in the car and I turned on the thing and you said this, and the impact there just changed my whole mindset. Like I'm doing, and that shit just goes so far for us personally. And we realize that, I don't know, I mean, the whole point of creating this, and I've said it a million times, is that I wish I had this shit when I started. And I know so many established creatives always say that that's why they teach. They realize that when you learn the shit, it's so important to give back into the community or into the people that are looking to get to where you are today. And that's just been our number one mission. And the fact that we can build so many relationships with different people and literally get them to come on and share their information and their stories and try to motivate or take lessons and stuff that we've found valuable and turn that into something that could be tangible for y'all is it's fun. It's really fucking fun. And to say we got 200 episodes really fucking trips me out, because I always looked at like Joe Rogan and shit, and I'm like, damn, that guy's got like 10,000 episodes, yo.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, man, like you look back to the moment where you're like, okay, I'm gonna start this. This is like you know what I mean? You're the one that actually had this idea. And I really do think that, man, like, I know there's creative podcasts out there, there's plenty, but I feel like we've really carved ourselves out a little pocket here of, you know, being the podcast that is like the one for creators to tap into, to learn how to elevate themselves, to get motivated, to hear stories. And like, we're in the new pocket of like new era creators, you know, whether it be social media or music or film or whatever, you know what I mean? And there's like a real home that we found that you can't find anywhere else. And I think like, it really is cool to think, like you said, where, you know, you're in Iowa, there was no podcast for you. So you're probably on forums and trying to find a community there, you know, and now it's like, man, if you listen to this podcast and you have someone that needs a jump creatively, you know that you could send this, and they got 200 episodes to look back on, like the catalog. Like if you find the podcast today, man, imagine like how juice you could get if you just went back and you dove into every morning roast and every interview.
And people tell us that they
literally
do that shit.
A university of information that we've put out for free as a podcast. Like, that's actually insane.
One of my other favorite things about this podcast, for me personally, and I know for a fact, if you're a community member of Black Window Cream and you're a part of the private community, you've been able to build relationships with different creators from all over the place. And that's what excites me the most. Through the podcast, I think it's interesting, like, if I didn't have the podcast, I would just be working full time as a director and be going to set and creating all the time. And you build relationships with people, but I feel like I've been able to really enhance my relationship building with these people by having these long discussions and really picking apart their life and their career path and their choices. And I may have known you through whatever, but when we really sit down and talk about some shit, I really learn, oh fuck, we have this in common, and there would have never been a time that we would have talked about this topic point, to realize that we are both fans of this shit, and maybe that becomes an interest, and we build, you know what I mean? It's been really cool to like develop relationships with these creatives that I might not have been able to develop just by having conversations, hearing their stories.
Yeah, I think also it's cool because we're really building like a culture and a name for ourselves where creators, like well-known creators, want to come on the podcast because they've heard about it and they want to give back to the creative community. So they know that Black Window Cream is the place where, you know, maybe you get an interview somewhere else and you were just asking you about some surface level stuff, but you come on Black Window Cream and we're gonna really get into, you know, the art of creating and the what it takes, because all this stuff takes, you know, a certain type of mindset, a certain type of heart, a certain type of like inspiration and passion,
right.
and we've like really tapped into that and made that accessible for people who, you know, maybe you picked up a camera and you're like, man, it'd be sick to do this.
Right.
That's what our goal is, right? It's like with everything we put out, it's for me who's back home, you who's back home, you know, anyone who's across the country who's like, man, I wish I could just, you know, make music and make this my whole life. Or I wish I could take photos and pay for my apartment and have a life that way, like a full-time career. And everyone tells me it's not possible. Well, this podcast, you listen to it, and it tells you, yo, look at this person. This person did what you did, and now they're doing this. They're flying across the country. They're living a full-time life. Look at them, at the life they've built off their camera, and you can do that too if you just follow some steps and you get inspired, you stay motivated because like the road will take you there, you know?
I think also, dog, it's one of my favorite things when I'm listening to a podcast and always trips me out is when the person that's talking on the podcast like gets it right. If they're like, right now you're listening to this and you're probably driving in your car and you're going to clock in at your job. And I love when that shit for real, like if I literally might be in my car and I'm driving to go do a job and I'm listening to them say some shit and they gas me up. And so for anyone that is listening right now at home and you feel disconnected from where you want to be or what you want to become, like the proof is in the pudding, yo. Like I've done it. The people that have been on the show have done. Dave's done it. To really imagine, oh, I want to get here, and to beat yourself up because you're not there. Don't do that shit. I do that. Everyone does it naturally. Like we all want more. Like I can get here and then that's not good enough. And that's always going to be the case for this. So I think the number one thing that I want everyone listening to take away is to like really be proud of your wins and what you have, and to understand that we're all in this shit together. And that's what the community is all about. Share your stories, ask your questions, be involved, give feedback, like be a member of Black Window Cream. Don't just fucking like say, oh yeah, I know Black Window Cream. Like be about it. Go be in the community. Put yourself, embrace that community, because those are the people that are going to carry you through this shit just as much as our voices on this podcast episode will. We are listening. We understand what people go through. We've all been in these same shoes, or we've heard people that have been in different shoes, and we can imagine it, and we can bring that here so everyone can be aware of it. But no, I think at the end of the day, I just want to say thanks to everyone that has listened, has been a part of this ride. If you just joined, shout out to you. If you've been with us since fucking whatever, when did we start this? October 7th, 2017 is when I released the first episode with Justin O.D. Show. If you've been there since then, goddamn, we've been on a fucking journey. And I hope that you can tell that we've spent and put a lot of energy into this podcast to make this shit grow. If you recall, we were recording this in fucking my homies. Actually, the room that we first started recording this in was in Andrew's house, in this fucking sunroom office thing that I slept on an air mattress with holes in, and I moved that out and brought a table in there and I set it up and I brought Justin in there, and that was the first place I recorded this podcast. Now we have a whole office with 3 big rooms and fucking a logo and all this shit, and it's so cool to know that it transformed into that. But if you've been along for that ride, thank you for that, and keep listening and keep encouraging other creatives to tap in, because we know that there's keys in here for a lot of people, including myself.
With all that said, I'm glad we got it all out. We get emotional, you know what I'm saying?
I gotta say it.
But with that, to celebrate this, I think we wanted to break down like 3 important ways that this podcast can impact your life as a creative. So if you listen to this podcast, maybe you're kind of a passive listener, or maybe you're a diehard like Ben was saying, you've been here since day one, right? I think we're just going to highlight 3 ways that you can utilize this podcast and actually take that and make that mean something in your own creative career, right?
Well, the tagline of this episode was the single most important tool for creatives, right? Or for freelancers. And we always talk about all the options that are out there. And I'm okay with doing a humble brag that this podcast is to me the single most important tool for a majority of freelancers listening there. And so we broke it down into 3, but I really do think if you really tap in and you listen to like why, it's 3 pieces of like the puzzle that you should be piecing together. I think you can really use this as your form of schooling, your BWNC university, whatever you want it to be. Take that. But yeah, what's step 1? All right.
So the first way is the fact that creator success stories are the blueprints, right? And so when you think about being a creative, right? Like, if you go to college and you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a doctor, you know what that blueprint is. You get your biology degree, you go to medical school, you do 4 years of residency, whatever, you're a doctor. There's a path there. There's a path for a lot of things. You want to be an accountant. This is how you do it. If you sat around and you have a dream and you said, man, I want to design visuals for music videos, or I want to design visuals for a tour. No one tells you how that's done, right? Well, our podcast, what's so beautiful about it is you literally have access to, hundreds of stories, of people that are successful, that are doing things that you want to do at home, right? So you get to see the peak of what you can be, and learning from these stories, hearing how they started, hearing how they got through tough moments and being able to see and look at the parallels in your life and say, man, like you might think that this person that you look up to has it flashy, man, they fly in private jets, they go with these artists, they're with celebrities, they have all these amazing work. Well, they were literally you like 5 years ago.
I think that's the biggest problem is like that's what we look at, right? Like I always envy, I love YouTube. I would love to be way more a part of YouTube than we are outside of just uploading the podcast. It's a cool place for creatives to really experiment and get creative and build a platform for themselves. I'll look at Casey Neistat every single day and be like, that motherfucker kills this shit. I want to do that. You know what I mean? But we don't know what's behind closed doors. And you can listen to his podcast and him and his wife and shit. They talk about their issues with him traveling too much, or maybe he gets burnt out on creativity, or he gets stressed behind projects. We have no idea. And I think that that's what's so cool about when we do these deep dives into these, A to Z stories with these creatives. One that hits is like Chris Parsons is a great one. Chris Parsons as Chris. Oh, well, you might not know, but now I'm going to tell you. He's Kendrick Lamar's photographer. He's gone on to become an amazing photographer who shoots for all kinds of publications and shit like that. But when you hear his story, and we've had a lot of outreach on this one specific, but when you hear his story, you get to hear about this person who literally got evicted from their apartment, had nowhere to go, used all their money to fly from New York to LA for a chance to get into Kendrick's show, to shoot his show. And then his hope was that if he could stunt on that show, Kendrick would see his work and be like, I want to fuck with this dude and take him with me or anything, just to be noticed. So he spent all his money, flew all the way over to LA, got there too late, missed the show, saw them leaving the show, and that was that. And he went and crashed on some homie's couch for as long as they'd let him. They said, yo, you gotta go. And that day that he was supposed to move home and fucking tuck his tail behind his however you say that saying, he fucking goes, he gets a call from Kendrick and is invited to go meet them wherever to go on tour, and his entire life changes. And the next thing you know, he's on PJs, he's traveling around the world, staying in fucking penthouses, he's shooting one of the best rappers in the world and blew up. But he had to hit rock bottom. And sometimes you need to hear that. It's important to, and it's relatable. Like we've all had those moments. I don't know how long I felt like I was at rock bottom before I ever got a chance. And I'm moved when I get to sit here across the table and hear these people talk to me and tell me that shit. To hear Chris cried on the podcast, and it was like the most moving shit to be like, man, I feel that. I understand. And that's a reality check. And when you listen to these stories, it can wake you up in multiple different ways. You can hear about how they may have made a terrible mistake, or they invested too much time into this and they wish they would have done that. And you realize like, damn, wait, I'm starting to do that. I should switch gears if that's what they're suggesting. These are your teachers, you know what I mean? And I don't know. That's what I really agree with it. These stories have this massive blueprint that I think a lot of y'all should tap into as often as possible.
Yeah, and I think it's even more so like, some people may listen to a story and be like, okay, they did this and they did this and they did this and now they're this person, and that's not happened to me because I don't live there, or I don't do this. But it's deeper than that. If you really listen to these stories, like if you take an active interest in analyzing these stories and writing notes or taking away things, it's the mindsets, it's the strategy. Like, okay, so when let's say when Danilo was in DC and he was shooting in local venues, just like a lot of our listeners do, when music is popping, right? What was his strategy to reach out to try to bust in these artist teams and make relationships? What was his strategy when he was emailing? What was this? Let me take some of that. Let me go look at Cash Bunny. Man, Cash Bunny was, literally walking New York and found an internship just by reaching out, or she made a video out of Skrillex, out of movies, and somehow got that to Skrillex, and then that's how she got noticed the first time. And maybe I should take some footage on the internet and do something, and that's how I'm gonna reach out to people. Like there's little things in each
Every
episode
story
that you can take and really apply to your life.
Hell
even
yeah.
if you don't live in the same place as these people, even if you're a photographer and you're listening to Kai, the artist, you're not going to paint anything in your life, but this guy is a wealth of knowledge, and everything that these people say applies to you in some way, because at the end of the day, everybody on the podcast is a creative who had a dream, right? And they went against the odds. They decided they were going to take an irregular path, and they worked through some things, and then they realized, man, this actually worked. And that's what everyone's trying to do. So
but you know what? Out of everyone, the only person that really trips on me that I'm like, maybe they didn't really believe, like want this, was Robin Harper, when he literally was just like, I'm gonna grab a camera, and he tripped on something, and out of nowhere his first photography job ever was with Beyonce, and then he became her fucking photographer for mad years.
But he understood the value, because that's a lesson from his, is he worked as an assistant of a photographer and learned the lighting and learned the different nuances of being a photographer and developed a relationship, and then that relationship put him up for the Beyonce job. So not when you can learn, man, if I can just find someone to just provide value to, then those opportunities turn into something. So there's always something to learn, you know?
I think coming off of that, and if you don't recognize any of these names, like start typing them in and searching them and finding their episodes, because they're all amazing creatives. But I think this brings us to number 2, which is the business skills of being a creative. And I think what's cool about this is that we implemented this the way this is the morning roast to a T, right? Like, this is what I think you'll get out of a morning roast episode outside of motivation, but we dive into those different topics, and it usually circles around business. And what I love is that the morning roast originally came from, this is funny as hell, because I had an idea where I was like, yo, I feel like we should make, and this is right when Dave started working with me. I'm like, you know what would be cool is if we had like a daily, or was it daily or weekly?
Well, we did like Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, we were trying to do 3 times a week. We wanted to do a morning roast, which was literally what I wanted it to be, was just like a post in our community and say like, hey y'all, go out and get it. Today, my question for you is like, how do you go about, cleaning your lens, say on Monday, and on Wednesday it'd be like, how do you introduce yourself to new clients? Just small little words, whatever. So I told Dave like, yo, I want you to do that and start curving those out, and let's make those like regularly post. So Dave comes back with the first one, and it's like a fucking essay of just heat. Like, he's like, how do you clean your lens? I don't remember the first one.
It's like some super, I'm super motivational. But I was caught in a moment. But that was like, yeah, that's the seed of what this is. It's like,
but that's what it was supposed to be. And Dave wrote such a dope post, and we realized, man, this might be really hard to do 3 times a week. Right. So then we're like, all right, what if I just read this shit that you wrote? We'll read it on the podcast. And we started crafting them together. Be like, all right, well, we could tie this into my thing and my story, and we'll read them. And then when Dave finally moved here, we were like, we should just talk.
Yeah, I know.
And it made it so much easier, because I hate reading. And like, I was like, dog, can we just talk about this shit?
Right.
But those have gone so far, and I would love to, let's touch on it, Dave, because the business skills.
Well, I think, man, like what it comes down to, I think the philosophy of it is, we're a creative community, we're a creative podcast, right? So we're artists. We care about creating actually. But what our pocket is that we found is, it's the freelancing, right? How do you become a freelancer legit? You have to learn the entrepreneurial business side of it. You got to learn how to handle clients. You got to learn how to negotiate. You got to learn how to network. You got to learn how to build a brand. You got to learn how to, fight for your price and sign contracts. And those things are what separate people. So in the morning roast, that's what we're really trying to do. It's like a mentor session. It's like that weekly, business juice in the creative field. We're trying to speak to the people who listen to us and give you those little tips or those little strategies or things that you can use to actually go enact, like right now, actionable steps that you can take and say, I'm going to do that next time I reach out to a client, or I'm going to do that next time. We hear stories and people reach out to us in the community through the texting platform of like, hey, I was in this situation and this person didn't pay me because they said that they needed this and that. And we were like, okay, let's take that topic and let's talk about the importance of setting revision limits up front in emails.
Right.
And let's talk about how to get out of client nightmares that way.
Which, by the way, if you're not in the texting thing, hit the link in the description below. You got to hop in and text us, because we out here actively talking to everybody. And I wish everyone a happy birthday, because I get notified when it's your birthday.
Facts.
Keep going, sorry.
But no, I mean, I want you to talk about it too, because it's just like you have the stories, right? And the stories are amazing because they're inspiring, they're empowering, and you're getting to see what your map could be and how you're going to take that and put it into your life. And the morning roast is what, like, actually sharpening the knife of being a business creative. How do I really make a full-time living at this? How do I really, like, okay, cool, everyone wants to be, I want to network and stuff, but how do you do that?
Yeah.
And that's what the morning roast is. It's taking actionable steps. And if you listen to the morning roast weekly, I guarantee that you are going to take those lessons and really, make an impact in your career. We literally just talked to a guy yesterday who said he's listened to every morning roast we put out since the beginning, or the beginning of this, or last year at least. And he said, man, literally I listen every week, I take notes, and I put those things into my career. And since then, I've gotten to do this, and I've gotten to shoot for this artist, and I've gotten to shoot for music festivals. I landed this acting client, and blah, blah, blah. And that's really what that is if you take it and take notes from it.
Well,
you know?
I think if you look, so that's number 2 is the business side of it. But number 3 is inspiration, motivation, and to me, opportunity, right? Like that's what this podcast brings, and I see it all the time. So when you talk about this person, we're able to provide an opportunity to them without really physically doing anything. I'm able to listen to an episode and implement some strategies that you guys provided in this to be able to try to talk to my client different or approach someone different or whatever it may be. And that works. And people were able to get job opportunities. Not even just the podcast, the creative community, jobs are fucking spread around like fucking whatever that flower is where the shit flies in the air and then there's tons of them. Dandelions or something. I don't know. Poppy fields? Fuck, I don't know. But like to me, I think one of my biggest things when I started picking up a camera was we all have that. And I've had the camera in my hand for well over 10 years. And I remember at the jump picking it up, and we've had Tim Dodd on the podcast. He goes by Everyday Astronaut. We've had him on here twice, killing it on YouTube, but was an amazing photographer, is an amazing photographer. And back then was the only one I knew that was really doing it. And for me to like, I got in the door with the client somehow, fucking, I have no idea how, but they were like, hey, how much does it cost to do this shit? And that's my first go-to question. It's like, I don't know. And you start trying to search the internet or whatever you can. And I remember I always based it off what Tim did. You know what I mean? And I didn't really know why Tim charged $400, but someone starting should maybe charge like $20 for this or $400, you know, whatever. It's all, I don't know, I'm just saying random numbers, but like, by looking at what he did, I compared that, and then I was like, well, I'm not anywhere near as good as that, so I should be like 1/4 that price. And maybe I'd charge $100, or I'd charge even like lower than that, but I based it off of that, and I know there's so many levels to it, and we go into so many avenues that I think open up a lot of answer a lot of questions. You know what I mean? You may not even know you have the question, and by us talking about it, we're answering it for you. And I think that's the same thing I always tell people when they message me on Instagram. They'll message me with a blanketed question, whatever, and I might respond to it. And I say like, yo, you know what you should do is ask this in the community. Like go ask this question in the community because I think you'll get a thicker response. But also tune in the podcast because I guarantee you, if you listen to any of those episodes, we've talked about some shit that is going to be a question for you. You don't even realize that's going to be a question for you yet, and you won't even have it when it comes anymore because you have already learned it. Exactly. And that's the beauty of this podcast. And that's, to me, it's inspiring. That's the goal. We try to, Dave said it earlier, like we're the voice in your head, right? Like we're your mentor. We want to be your mentor, a source of direction of where you should take this shit and how you can level up. And hopefully we hit those points. And again, like it's awesome to be have such wide use of the internet because we can literally, we make topic points based off of what y'all are going through. Yeah. And that's literally like the illest shit. Yeah,
for sure. And I think, you know, the saying like you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I think we've talked about this in Morning Roast before, right?
Yeah.
We made a Morning Roast about mentors, like finding mentors. You should look it up. But we talk about this, and the idea is like, okay, maybe you're creative and you live in Cedar Falls, Iowa, right? And like you talk about all the time, like, you know, you had some creative friends, but a lot of people sit around and like, no one around me really cares about this shit, and I'm the only one. So then you feel like you don't have a support system, or you don't have people in your circle that are like pushing you to be greater. Well, that's what we are, right? So if you don't have those people in your circle to like average out to make you like a motivated creative,
right?
This podcast serves as that voice, like you said, the voice in your head. So every week you're tapping in. On Sunday, you're getting to hear about a successful creative who's done something amazing, and through that, you're going to learn something. And then on Wednesday, you're going to get some motivational tips. And then in the middle of the week, if you're feeling down, maybe you're working at your day job, you don't have that motivation to like, I'm supposed to go home and practice my edit, but I'm tired. I just want to chill.
Right.
And then on the drive home, you pop in an episode, and you hear me and Ben fucking fired up about some stuff, and you're just like, all right, you know what? Like, it's a constant reminder that either A, your dreams are possible, B, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should keep going because these people either hit a rough point and kept going, or man, that like something that we said kind of clicked, and you're like, I never thought about it like that. Right. And now you're inspired, and you're impacting that into your career. And I think that's such a valuable way to use this podcast. It's like that, either that nudge or that reminder or that voice in your head, that mentor that, if you dedicate yourself to like at least giving us those 2 hours a week, 2.5 hours a week, is gonna make a lasting impact. Because it literally happened to me, so I know it's possible, and we hear it from people all over the world. So it's like, that's how you should use it, I think.
So yeah, just a big thanks to anyone who's been using this podcast as a resource, as a tool. You smart for doing that. We're really proud of what we've been creating. And honestly, if you're listening and you really are a super fan for us and you want to go hard for the podcast, just do whatever you can to help this thing grow. Share an episode out with a creative that you think might benefit from it. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, whatever you want to call it. Shoot us a text. We have the thing down below so you can hit the number. Turn on post notifications on Instagram. All that stuff goes a long way to help us with this and our mission. But we're going to get to, the winners of the contest. We're excited for that. I think we said that this is an important tool. The podcast is an important tool for creatives. But if you're a video editor, there is another important tool that you should be using, and it's the Epidemic Sound Commercial Plan. You guys have been using it during this contest, and we're excited with Epidemic partnering with the podcast, and they've been championing us as a creative collective, but they also helped us make this contest come to life. And I've been using Epidemic for the past 2 years on a lot of my big client videos, like EA Sports, Dwayne Johnson. I even used it on Beyonce's videos. And I recommend it to all Black Window Cream video editors. I remember getting started doing wedding videos in like local restaurant spots. I think I would pay like $100 to $150 to just license a track for that one video, which was always terrifying for me because I wasn't even making that much money. I would try ripping off songs on YouTube or on other websites so I wouldn't have to eat that cost. I would just steal it. But then I was running into the risk of getting my client's video flagged for copyright infringement. And whenever people reach out to me, they ask me for advice with finding copyright-free music. I always tell them to invest into Epidemic and use that as a way for you to make money. And I don't think a lot of creatives understand the return of investment on music licensing platforms like Epidemic. I'm going to explain it with a scenario. So check this out. Imagine you get hired to create a micro documentary about a local college football team. You charge them $1,500 for like a 6-minute documentary. This will cover the shooting, the editing of the project by yourself. Now, after you shot the project, you get into the editing mode and you end up using like 4 songs throughout this documentary. With Epidemic, you're able to pick from like 30,000 professionally curated tracks, and you know that every single track is copyright free and licensed for all commercial and social platforms. And so you have the security of that, but you're probably still wondering like, how does it make you money? Well, in this case, the shooter could charge $1,500 for just shooting and editing, and then the shooter ends up eating the cost for the music subscription plan like I was back in the day. Or you could do what I do now, and you charge a line item for music licensing on your project bid, and you charge your client for that. You could charge them, say, $100 for a song. So in this example, you're charging them for 4 songs. That equals $400. So if you would just invest $299 for the 1 year of Epidemic's commercial plan, you would pay off the entire year in just one project and still profit $100. Now, moving forward, every time you charge a client for music, it will be straight profit. So there's another creative tip for you guys. I hope that this can change the way you're charging your clients and making music licensing work for you. Epidemic is offering Black Window Cream members a free 1-month trial on the commercial plan plus 50% off your first month. Just use BWNC at checkout.
All right, so that concludes the first part of the podcast. We're about to bring on all of the top 3 finalists of the Commercial Cut Challenge. Everyone that we're about to bring on doesn't know that they're in the top 3. They know they made the top 10, so we're going to get their live reaction. The first person we're bringing on is Dakota Giglio, and he is our 3rd place contestant. And a funny thing about this is that I don't know if you probably know, because if you competed, we messaged every single contestant that entered the contest.
Every single person.
Literally every single one. So we spent 2 days doing that, checking in with everybody, really giving just showing you that we were invested in you guys competing. And I remember Dakota letting me know that he was moving to LA. So he was moving. He had a lot of things going on, and it sounded like he was going to not compete at the end of the day, even though he registered. And, kind of just gave him a little bit of nudge, let him know there's still plenty of time, that he should lock in. And turns out he entered, and within a couple of days of editing, it looks like he locked in 3rd place, which is pretty cool. So,
yeah, that's a testament right there, because I know there's a lot. I mean, we had hundreds of people join this thing, and so many people, got busy or whatever, or thought they were too busy. And Dakota's a testament that that's not true. You got to slam a Red Bull. I don't know how many people we told that, hit a Red Bull real quick and go ham just tonight and see what you can do. And he did it in a couple hours probably, and came out on 3rd.
I know. So it's it takes that little bit of motivation between you not even like testing your skills, and now Dakota's about to find out that he got top 3. So let's get into it.
We should also take a while to tell him that he got top 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, let's call him. Dakota.
Hey.
Yo, what up, G?
How are you guys?
Hey, we're good. Welcome to the Black and No Cream podcast. We live right now. We're not really live, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. What's up, future self?
Yeah, that's right. What's good, man? How are you? How's things going?
It's good. Just moved to LA. Actually, I can tell it's nice and warm over here.
Hey, congratulations.
I'm used to this.
So
Thank you.
Weird time to make the move, but we're proud of you. We're proud of you for making that step forward.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yo, G, so you made it to the top 10. We appreciate you submitting to this contest and entering with some heat. And so we just wanted to talk to you to kind of find out more about like how you found out about the contest and like what made you jump on the opportunity.
Totally, yeah. So first I registered and I was planning on doing it, but I was moving and everything, and then I don't know who it was, either you or Dave hit me up via the Black with No Cream Instagram DMs, and you're like, you send out hey, I saw you registered, you should get on this editing, get on it. So that kind of pushed me to actually start it, and I made the time, and then, once you get in the groove, it just up till 2 a.m., a couple nights in a row, just banged it out. But yeah, that extra little push got me. So thanks for that, whoever that was.
There you go. I remember that. It was me. It was me that messaged you, and you were super moving. And I was like, yo, just you take a break from your moving, and all you need is one session. That's exactly what you did. So that's awesome. We'd love to know more about your creative process. Like, you just said it took you a couple, long nights, a couple nights in a row. But can you tell us a little more about the direction you took and what was the story and message you wanted to tell with your piece?
Totally. Yeah. So at the beginning, I did listen to the podcast you guys put out about, with Mike and everything about the best steps of how to do it well. But I want to start with a little chaotic to try to loop you in and just show it like a craziness, and then kind of slowly bring it back down, build momentum, and then come to like a conclusion. I was trying to figure out a good angle, like what my message would be exactly. So I was listening to trying to get some inspiration through some different inspirational YouTube videos and random ones, whatever. And then I came across the Rocky quote or whatever from the movie. And he's like, keep moving forward, keep moving forward. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to roll with that and just go with the Nike theme, I guess.
Yeah, man, we really liked, I'm curious, how long did it take you from start to finish to whip this up?
Shot selection was kind of one of the main things. Sound effects actually took a while. Epidemic Sound had a lot of good stuff on there. But total time, maybe 12, 15 hours.
Nice.
Yeah, I had to guess.
Dude, I would say as we watch it, I feel like the edit was super clean. Like you really came forward with making a compelling, fast-paced cut. It flowed really, really well. We loved the sound design and the music choice that you were using. And we loved just opening with the tone. Like you really came in with a hard tone and even adding some extra flair to it on top of what the footage was and making some particle flares and, different things like that. We really, really
totally
liked what you brought to the table. So I guess our next question for you is, there was 350 submissions. You made it to the top 10, but we want to know, how does it feel that you locked yourself into third place?
Let's go. Thank you, guys. I'll take it.
We got the DJ horns for you, dog.
Yes, sir.
Nah,
yes,
man.
sir.
Appreciate it.
You got, $200 Amazon gift card. We're getting you the 6-month free Epidemic Sound commercial plan that you're going to get. We got the How to Charge a Client guide. What else we got, Dave?
We'll we'll get a mug your way for sure.
Oh, yeah, we got the Black with No Cream mug, some shirts. Dog, we appreciate you entering this. How's it feel, with all the hard work that you put in, 15 hours straight of cutting, and so many creators you were going against? How's it feel to take third?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, Dave, that message helped me out, so appreciate that.
Yes, sir. We're glad to hear it. It's that cool. Little motivational push. All right, bro. Well, we appreciate it. Is there any last words you want to say to the people listening?
The first couple of competitions I did them, and I think making a story that's what I was missing in the first two. So I made sure to really try and go for that. So, I mean, that's probably the main, like you guys always say, story is pretty important.
Absolutely.
So, it's a little hard when there's no audio or anything, but just trying to figure that out always helps.
Nah, you killed him, bro. Keep pushing hard. We love to see it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, later player. Yo, again, big shout out to Dakota for getting in third place, man. That's awesome. I think it's really cool to hear his view of understanding the benefit of entering multiple contests. He's taken advantage of pretty much all the contests that we've offered, and he finally won third place, which is just super dope to hear. The next person that we're going to call is Daniel Gamboa. He's placing second in this contest. His edit is really, really, I mean, it's fucking great. We're going to tell him about it, but let's just give him a call right now. Daniel.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yo, what's good, bro? How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
We are great. Welcome to the Black Window Cream podcast, man. It's good to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yo, so look, you crushed it on the contest. Thank you for entering. You got in the top 10, and we're excited to talk to you about it and to hear your point of view on everything. But I'm interested to hear, how'd you go about finding the contest and what made you jump on the opportunity?
Just following you guys in the podcast. So I been following that for a little while now. I've been following you as a creator and the work that you've done. And so when I heard about it, I just jumped on because with anything that I see like that, as far as a creator, an opportunity to kind of just challenge myself, I just wanted to see what it was about. And I thought it would be kind of cool. I definitely had some time to do it, with everything being kind of shut down and whatnot. So
right.
I jumped off the opportunity, went online, saw the YouTube link, and saw you guys talking about it on the podcast as well. But yeah, I mean, it was something that I was kind of just intrigued by right off the bat.
Dope.
What's up, Daniel? This is Dave. How you doing, bro?
Hey, how's it going?
So I just want to talk to you about your creative process. Like, how long did it take you? What was the direction you took, and what was the story and the message you wanted to tell when you were creating this video?
Yeah, so I was inspired mainly by just getting the footage right away and listening to you guys on the podcast, and then also taking the tips that Mike had as far as like what he shot the footage for, and then just kind of going through it and trying to organize it and see what shots I liked, what shots I didn't like, and then from there it really just kind of inspired me to take the route of trying to tell a story behind that footage, and something that I kind of done with some other videos that I've been able to create. And the footage is really powerful stuff, and I feel like I wanted to create some sort of message that was as powerful to go with that as well.
So what was that message in your mind?
For me, it was kind of just combining what the subject was doing. So like for me, that the footage of him working out, and then also him being a firefighter, just trying to convey a message of what was he doing when he was working out, and how does that translate into what he does for his job. Right. And then connecting that to people in general, just like an emotional connection, I felt like was kind of key. And created a little VO for it, and then just kind of match that with telling the story from beginning to end and all my shots. And that was just the message mainly to me, was just trying to connect that he works hard as far as his training and what he does outside of being a firefighter, so that when he does go into, a burning building or burning house, he's better suited to be able to protect the people that he's going in there for, and maybe save some people too.
Yeah,
Nice.
dude. I mean, we've watched a lot of submissions, and I just feel like you had such a great combination within your edit, utilizing, because it's really two different worlds, right? It's the gym workout stuff, and then there's also the firefighting stuff, and you, I feel like, married those two things together really well. And not only that, you use the music and the sound effects and really engaged us and made you feel the impact that was happening, which I thought was awesome. We were really stoked on that. And then your VO, man, we got to tell you, like at the end, and you come in and it's, why do I train? Because it may be the difference for you. We love that, because it was just like such, I don't know how many times have we talked about it.
Well, yeah. The cool thing is that, you could go different ways with VO. There are people who didn't do it. There's people who had VO the whole way, kind of like getting the story. And I think what was cool about yours is it felt, like when that message came in at the end, it tied everything together with just one line, and it left you feeling like, damn, like fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like it hit, and that's what's dope about it, because you didn't need it the whole way, but when it came at the end. And also what was cool for me is like you were playing duality, so you had like him lifting the couch in the burning building, and then you match cut that with him doing the hang clean. So it's like you're visually showing that the weightlifting is directly translating to what he's doing in real life. So I thought a lot of that would give like true meaning to the piece, which was dope.
Yeah, that was like you said. I appreciate you guys' comments on it. That's because that's what I was really going for. I mean, it's like I said before, it's powerful footage, and that always makes it easier. But yeah, just trying to cut it in a way and that it built up, and I took that from you guys' comments and to build up that story and really hit hard at the end to really leave that, viewer, whoever's going to be seeing this with that lasting impression.
Right. Yo, so Daniel, look, there was 350 submissions. There was so many that were watching, and I'm glad you got to be in the top 10. But I guess our question right now for you is, how does it feel to know that you have been locked in to second place?
Oh,
we got you. Yo, we got you with a $300 Amazon gift card, 6 months free Epidemic Sound commercial plan, the How to Charge a Client guide, some mugs, some shirts, and shit like that. We gonna lace you up fat, bro. But how's it feel?
Oh man, that's crazy, man. I got chills right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. I didn't know how many submissions there were. When I submitted mine, I want to say that there was 200 something from what I saw, but I didn't, so that's crazy, man. That's awesome, man. I appreciate you guys running this contest. It's definitely been pretty dope to be part of it.
No, we're glad you went hard. You deserve it. It was a really creative cut, and we're glad that you got to showcase your stuff, and hopefully everyone can follow along with your journey as a creative too, and stick with you, bro. Is there any last words that you want to share with the people that are listening?
No, man, just keep creating. I know that's something you guys push, and keep on working on the craft. Really, it's right. It's something that I've been doing for some time now, and I feel like there's always more to learn.
Love it, man.
And with contests like this, man, it's like enter them. You know what I mean? Because at first I was timid to enter, contests that I saw, but it's only going to make you a better creator. So.
Yeah, man. I hope you take this juice from this contest and put it into your life. You're dope, and hope that you keep rocking with the editing, bro. We'll catch you soon.
Oh yeah.
Yo, and make sure you guys are going and following each one of these contestants. Check out their submissions. They're killing it. If you're watching and listening to this podcast on YouTube, we're probably playing the content on top of this, but they all did a great job. And now it's time to get to the main event. The person who plays first place in the commercial cut challenge, who will be walking away with a lot of dope shit. A 49-inch ultra-wide monitor, a 1-year free subscription to Epidemic Sound's commercial plan, How to Charge a Client guide, Black with No Cream mug. We send them some T-shirts and whatnot. We're going to get him on the phone right now. His name is Basil Gerard. Let's call him.
Hello.
Basil.
Hey, what's going on?
Yo, man. How you doing? Welcome to the Black with No Cream podcast, bro.
This is such an honor. Holy crap.
It's good. So you're in Australia, right?
Yeah, dude, I'm in Melbourne.
Okay, word, because we were trying to hit you this morning, and then we're like, yo, this guy's probably asleep. And throughout the day, I've been asking Alexa, what time is it?
Yo, Basil, yo, this is Dave. What's up, Basil? How you doing?
Hey, Dave.
Yo, so Ben's asking Alexa, what is the time in Australia? I'm like, Ben, you're asking Alexa what's the time in an entire continent.
Yeah, there's a few different times. Yeah, that's true.
That's how I think, man. Yo, so everything's good on your end, though, over there? Everything's cool?
Yeah, kind of. Melbourne's gone into a second lockdown, but we were only out for like a couple of weeks. So, I'm more healthy and I'm working, so that's pretty good.
Well, that's all you can ask for, bro. Like we appreciate you entering this contest. You killed it. You went really hard, and I'm glad to say that you were in the top 10 from all the submissions and everything. So, thanks again for doing it. We're curious to hear from your side of the things. How did you find the contest, and what made you jump on the opportunity?
I've been following you guys for ages, I love everything you do, and have always kind of looked for like a way to get in there. And then in editor competition, I was like, well, this is sweet. And then having kind of nothing but time at the moment, no excuses really. I just thought it was cool, and it's kind of different to the stuff that I usually chop up like day to day. So yeah, it was cool. It was just it was a nice kind of like opportunity to kind of like stretch a little bit. And then, yeah, I went pretty hard in the end. I just was kind of like, well, I'm not going to like half-ass it. I'm going to give it everything.
That's a good mentality, bro. I'm wondering if you could share your creative process. Like, when you're sitting down and you're looking at the footage and you're trying to come up with your concept for your piece, like what was the direction you took and what was like the story and message that you wanted to tell for the people watching your piece?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I took a long time to kind of get in and actually watch the footage. I listened to the podcast with Mike and was really, really like thinking about it without even looking at the footage, just thinking about kind of like what I wanted to do and what made me different, knowing that it's a competition and that there's going to be so many entries. I knew that I kind of wanted to stand out, but like not stand out in like a tacky or over the top way or anything like that. But I was just thinking about like, what can I bring to the table? And I was like, maybe a little bit of story in here, some work. Like I play drums, so I was like, I could probably do something with a bit of something around music cuts or something like that. And then, once I got into the footage, I was like, holy shit, yeah, I think I can do something with this. And then the attention to detail as well. The fact that I looked up that it was the Nelson Fireys in BC, and I checked out their logo and got their logo, and then the logo didn't match the one that they had on their uniform, so that I had to get into Photoshop. And I mean, I definitely had a lot of doubts during it. I'm like, editing in Photoshop in the middle of the night, this logo. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is so stupid. But anyway, I think it worked out.
No, it paid off, and we could definitely see the detail, man. I really appreciated the Nelson nod at the end and being able to bring that logo full circle and making it match. You actually, watching your cut actually made me pay attention to the badge on the sleeve of their uniform. I hadn't even paid attention to that, but oh shit, Nelson, that's from they're in Canada. I didn't even attach myself to that as we started watching it. So I'm glad you were able to to grab that part. I also, from the edit, man, your energy was super high, and we really liked how the pacing of it was so good. Now you saying that you play drums makes sense, because I feel like you bring it down and you have this amazing VO, and then you really pick it up with that high energy, and you use the right footage. Like, you really picked great clips for those fast-paced moments, and then when you slow it down and you let the VO do its thing, it just really, I don't know, it just really hits and drives this intention of awareness towards what the fire department can do for you, if that makes sense.
Totally.
And you really killed it.
As like a thanks so much for that. Just as like a little sneaky thing, like on the first kind of hit, like I used the clap as like a crash, just like something like that. Like that little like nugget, like a second clip, that would have worked somewhere else, but it works perfectly there. And so, yeah, I paid a lot of attention to the ordering. I really like sequencing. Like that's something that I'm into. But yeah, no, thanks so much.
Man.
It was awesome.
Yeah, we liked it. Mike really liked it, who directed the footage that you were cutting, and same with Epidemic. So I guess as we're continuing this and interviewing, we had over 350 submissions that came through, yours included. So we just wanted to know, how does it feel to know that you got first place in this motherfucking contest, dog?
What?
Yeah, bro, you killed it, bro.
We're
getting you this 49-inch ultra-wide monitor, a year free Epidemic sound commercial plan, the How to Charge a Client Guide, the BWNC mug. We'll send you shirts and stuff like that, all the way to Australia, man. How's that feel?
Dude, that's crazy. No, that's silly. What?
Yeah, dog, you killed it. How's it feel?
I mean, that feels great. There was so many good entries. That's crazy.
There were so many.
A subjective thing. I was pumped. I was just pumped to be DMing with you guys. That's, for me, that's the real win. That's the win. I was like, this is the direct line.
I love that.
Shit. That's amazing.
Yeah, dog.
I'm so glad I got like the North American voiceover and didn't have my twangy accent in there.
Hey, you never know, dog. We big fan of Australia. I love it over there. It's cool to see the hard work and you like questioning yourself in the middle of the night, cutting, some stuff in Photoshop and then turning around and, submitting something that you were proud of. And we just resonated with it. There are so many great submissions. We had to nitpick at the top like 25, 30, and it was really challenging to do it. But there's something about yours that we all just resonated with, and we really, really enjoyed it. And you killed it, man.
Wow. That is crazy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
My body feels very weird right now. That's great.
It's a good way to start the day, huh?
It is a good way to start the day.
I'm actually sipping black coffee from my black with no cream mug.
Hey, yo. Oh, shit. So you already have one. So we're going to send you another one anyway. Fuck it. Give it to a homie. Yo, is there...
I've got a guy in mind.
There we go. Do you have, as we wrap this up, is there anything that you want to share to the people that are listening right now? Tell them about yourself or any message you want to send out there.
Man, just I think I don't want to be selfish. I would just say, especially in this time, generosity and resilience. Like that's what I'm focusing on at the moment. So, I do some stuff. Another thing I do is like a video podcast where we're being like kind of silly and joyful in this time, and that has kind of blown up. Maybe not more than this contest, but within my friends and family, a big time. So a lot of people saying like, hey, thanks so much for just some silliness in the madness at the moment. So stuff like that, I think just what way you can offer yourself at the moment. I think that's important. Like to not be so selfish.
Plug the podcast, bro. What's the name of the podcast so people can go subscribe?
It's if you squint. It's a video podcast. So just if you follow me, Basil_Jared on Insta, I post everything to there.
There we go.
So
all right.
You'll definitely see the silliness.
There we go, bro. Yo, we appreciate it, man. We'll link to your profile. Obviously, we want everyone to go see your winning submission, and we're gonna also share it in a YouTube video too. As the week goes on, we're gonna judge all the top 10 and show what we liked. So we'll have it in there.
This is madness. I can't believe you got me. You got me so good.
I know.
I wasn't ready for it.
Hey, yo, honestly, we had like so many different versions of how to approach telling you that you won, and the one I really wanted to do was to tell you that you did a really good job, and then told you that you didn't win, and then just see what happened, and then But Dave was like, "No, we can't do it to the boy. We can't do it to the boy." God. Nah, bro. But we appreciate it. Good. We hope you have a good time or a good day today, and we'll loop in with you soon.
Thank you so much, guys.
No, thank you, man. All right, talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
Yo, again, huge shout out to everybody that participated in this contest. We're going to be creating a video where we review the top 10 submissions. There were so many amazing cuts. It was really hard to do the voting on this one. We kind of spent a lot of time trying to really pick them apart, and I think it would be cool to highlight at least the top 10 that made it. And so plan on that coming out in the Black with No Cream YouTube channel. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. Again, subscribe to this podcast if you guys are not already. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Is there anything else I'm missing?
No, that's good, man. That was an episode for sure.
That was. Happy 200, people. We love you.
We'll catch you on Sunday with Cole Walliser.
Yeah, it's going to be a fucking amazing episode. This dude creates some high quality commercial content, and he's been using the GlamBot, the Bolt like electronic arm. He uses that on red carpets for like the Emmys and shoots like the highest of the high when it comes to celebrities, like fucking I can't even think of any of them. Katy Perry, yeah, fuck. Pink. Brad Pitt, like just the illest shit. So I'm excited for that episode to come out. But with that, we'll see you on Sunday, okay? Bye.